Welcome back to It Was Never a Face Cards. In today's video, the insanity continues. The Scarlet and Violet era stuff is just shooting up and up and up. We're seeing more all-time highs than ever before. We're going to break down some of the stuff that we're seeing right now from some Paldea Evolved, Paldean Fates, 151, and we're also going to talk about at the end of the video that new Japanese promo that's absolutely taking off and seeing some insane numbers. But let's just jump straight into it. And we're going to start off with the Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box, continuing just to climb and climb and climb. At some point, you'd have to think that we're going to see the ceiling on these products, but it doesn't look like that's going to be happening anytime soon. 54% gain in the past 3 months. Every time we talk about this product, it's up big, like massive. Current market price at $537, but most recent sales all in the $700 range, as you guys can see right here. The listed median, pretty good indicator that this is going to continue to move up, 846. So this is definitely going to continue to trend up. Low supply as always for this box. It's becoming fairly rare. 28 boxes listed on TCG as of this recording, with 34 sold in the past month. However, you can see that sales have slowed down more recently. We haven't actually seen a sale, it looks like, since September 10th. So if we get a sale, though, it will be up at that $700 mark. That's currently the lowest listed. So it might take a few more days to get a sale to go through. Things are definitely slowing down as these boxes get expensive. It's not just the Pokemon Center ETBs that are expensive, though. We talked about the booster box recently, but it's continuing to trend up. Last time we talked about it, it wasn't quite at this price point. And you can see 3 months ago, $337, the most expensive Scarlet and Violet era box. It ran up to $370. It cooled back down a little bit to $350. And now we're seeing current market at $464. Most recent sale, $485. And the listed median at $500. Paldea Evolved it's getting close to a $500 box. All the lowest listeds right now are at $485, if you can believe it. And it's really not that many sales. You can see from here down to right here, and then we're at confirmed $500 sales. So this is another one that's just a matter of time until we see that continue to grow. We zoom out right here, obviously just like a beautiful stair step chart, just up and up and up, 233% on the year for these booster boxes. A year ago they were a decent chunk below MSRP, if you can believe that. Now we're approaching the $500 mark. Absolute, like, just every time we get these like big updates, it's just insanity. It's just insane. But that is the state of the current market that we're in. Crazy bull market. Everything is like hyper accelerated right now. So that's Paldea. That's the sealed product that we're going to talk about. I did want to talk about a few singles from the set. The Mousehold illustration rare recently seeing a pretty big uptick in price. This is number 226, the illustration rare. 3 months ago, this was a $32 IR. Kind of moving up there. Was still one of the more expensive IRs, all things considered. But right now, current market price at $57. Lowest listeds right now, there's one at 70, and then it goes up to 75 and 80. So we could potentially see this Mousehold continue to go up. So another one to keep an eye on. If you had this one on your bingo card to be up to a potentially $80 card, let me know, because I did not think it was going to do quite this well. And if you want to look at a really good 1 year chart, 450% gain on the year is really good. You could have at one point in the past year had this for under $10, and now we're seeing a potential $80 illustration rare from Paldea Evolved. It is a very adorable card, I will say, absolutely adorable. So it does have that going for it, but I did not peg it as doing quite this well personally. So that one's a little bit of a shocker. PSA 10s have been doing really well. Currently, there's one as of this recording. These are the last solds, but there's only one listed on eBay, and I think it's at like $800 is the asking price. Here are the last solds in a PSA 10: 500, 675, 440, and 425 are the last solds for the Mousehold IR in a PSA 10. And if you're wondering about the population report, it's a difficult card to grade. There's been 2,126 copies graded with only 316 10s. So a very difficult card to grade. You can see the numbers right here. I do like, I've mentioned it before, but I like that eBay is now most of the time on most of the listings posting the PSA pop reports. I think that is very helpful. And we do need to talk about our boy Magikarp. It's continuing to move up, maybe slowing down just a teensy bit on its recent move. A year ago, $104 card. Its previous run up, its all-time high was 276 back in late February, early March. It fell down all the way to just under 200 at 190, and now we're seeing it at $289 all-time high, just barely above this previous all-time high. It's fallen back just a little because here the lowest listed is kind of at 280 and then it goes to 285. So maybe just it needs a few more sales. Once again, supply though fairly low on this card. 35 copies currently listed, and in the past month 84 have sold. I would probably predict that this card's going to crack that $300 mark and continue to move up in value. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Not like the mouse hold. That one was a little bit more of a shocker. So the Magikarp, I can see it breaking that $300 mark. We don't really have that many sales until it at least of what's currently listed for it to crack that $300 mark. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sales, and then we're at 330 actually. So that'd be a fairly significant jump, and then 350 and 370. So another one just to keep a good eye on. Obviously, as these boxes continue to get expensive, that's definitely going to be playing a factor. Less people are going to be opening. Not that there's that much Paldea Evolved on the market right now, but less people are going to be opening the boxes. So I don't think we're going to be seeing a ton more influx of Magikarps, currently hitting the market as these boxes start to get more expensive. It just doesn't make sense necessarily to rip a $500 SV era booster box. So I think that might start playing more of a factor as we move forward. And then before we go any further, I want to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is the Card Centering Calculator. Now, this is an app for iOS. If you want the best way, the best app for card centering, if you do any grading or you're thinking about grading, this is the app that you're going to want to use. It is available currently on the Apple App Store. There will be a link in the description. It's free to use. There you can get a paid version with some enhanced features, but essentially it can auto detect, or as you can see, you can manually adjust the centering, and it's going to tell you, hey, this card is good enough for a PSA 10. It's good for a BGS 9. It's good for a CGC, whatever grading company you want to use, it's going to be able to tell you. And it's an app that I use. I really like this app. I think it's easy to use and it works extremely well. So make sure you check out the Card Centering Calculator. Link will be in the description. Check it out for free. If you have an iPhone, give it a download. And then let's jump over. We have to talk for real quickly about 151. Now, most of what we're going to be talking about for 151 right now is actually sealed product. We have talked about the Charizard recently. It's moved up. It's so like over 300. And the Zapdos has been moving up. We talked about that recently. So we're not going to pull up those cards right now in this video. Zapdos probably in a future video though, because it's creeping up, probably about to break that $100 mark soon. So we'll talk about that maybe in another video. But right now, Ultra Premium Collection. Right here, check out this. It just continues to, like, no matter what time frame you look at it, 56% gain in the past 3 months. 3 months ago it was under 400. How much in the last month? 30% gain in the past month. And we zoom out on the 1 year, 300% gain. It was $146 box a year ago, and now we're seeing $600, $597 current market price. Listed median, it's not done. It's going to continue to go up just like everything right now. Listed median is $800 for the 151 UPC. Lowest listeds right now, 610, 610 and up, and then we'll be in the 650s, honestly, probably pretty quick. So just keep in mind, it's another thing that's starting to get low supply. 82 boxes on TCG Player as of this recording. 110 sold in the past month. So it wouldn't surprise me to see this just continue to chug. It has slowed down recently within the past like 10 days or so, but it's still slowly moving up. So a few more sales. Sometimes when these things slow down and stagnate like this just for a little bit, they're just like, it's kind of like pressure is building, at least in the current market. The pressure is building, and then it kind of like, it stagnates for a little while, and then people come in and swoop, and it just goes quick. So UPCs continuing to see obscene numbers. The Pokemon Center Elite Trainer Box for 151. Look at the current market right here, $959. The interesting number with this is why I wanted to bring this box up again, is the median price. The listed median price is at $1,400. We've seen quite a few sales. It's come down a little bit. We were seeing sales in the 1,000. They're right there, right? Just under 1,000, at 1,000, $997. So we've seen tons of sales like that already happen. But that listed median price of 1,400 is the crazy one to me. So this is going to be probably seeing a significant jump up in the near future. Just continues to rise and rise and rise. A year ago, $167 box. Now we're another $1,000 boxes potentially moving up. And we have quite a few that we have to get through in that $1,000 range, but then it takes a big jump up to $1,200 and then up to around $1,400. So this is another box that's just going to continue to climb. It's definitely slowing down with sales, though. You can see, only 39 sold in the past month, only 40 currently available. So it's just something, and it, like I said, it has kind of stagnated a little bit around that $950,000 mark, kind of pretty much in most of September. But maybe just give it a little bit more time. Like I said, pressure builds on it, and we'll see it move more in the future. But it really is getting to that point where it's eliminating a lot of potential buyers at $1,000+ So just keep that in mind as well. But it's just insane to see. That's how I would summarize all of what we're seeing for most of Scarlet and Violet, is just pure insanity. Regular Elite Trainer boxes are trending up massively as well. They're around $400 currently, with the listed median at $450. So those are going to continue to trend up. 68 boxes currently listed on TCG Player as of this recording. And we're seeing 26% gain in the past month. It was at 406. It's dipped just a tiny bit, a little bit of a fluctuation along the way. 354% gain on the 1 year chart. $87 1 year ago for a regular 151 Elite Trainer box. And lowest listeds right now are right there at that 400, or just a little bit under that $400 mark. So another interesting one to keep an eye on. 151 proving just to be an insane beast in this market, as well as Paldean Fates. Now, I just wanted to touch on Paldean Fates a little bit. It's starting to level off again, kind of like some of the other product we're seeing, but 92% in the past 3 months and 43% in the past month alone. The listed median, though, another interesting number, $600. And if we zoom out, obviously, this is one of the best performers you could have picked up. 635% on the year, under $70 at $69 1 year ago. And now we're seeing, $500 PC ETBs for Paldean Fates, and listed median at 600. Lowest listeds are right there, 500 and up. So another one that'll probably just continue to trend up. Sales will slow down. They're getting very, very expensive. The Bubble Mew, been obviously one of the biggest driving factors behind what we're seeing for Paldean Fates. And we haven't touched on the Bubble Mew in a little bit. And we do have an update. It kind of has, declined just a little. It's nothing crazy especially considering the gains that it's had. It's actually holding up really well. But yeah, 290 3 months ago, and we saw it break that $700 mark, and now it's down to around like 630, 650. Lowest listed's at 650. So it's come down just a little bit, like $50, which seems like a lot, but that's really not that much for a $700 card. And sales have slowed down, obviously getting very expensive, like pretty much everything else we've talked about in this video. 70 have sold in the past month, 76 currently listed. So we'll see. You can see there's probably going to be, if this continues to decline a little bit, you'll see a little bit more of an uptick in sales. But 571% gain on the year. A year ago, you could have got this for under $100. Its previous run-up, it's had a few little run-ups and dips. Ran up to 300, dipped down to 260. Ran up to 420, dipped all the way down. A lot of cards were doing this. A lot of chase cards we've talked about recently. Beginning of the year, they kind of peaked, and then they were falling off. Dropped down to around 296, and then obviously the insane run that it's on right now, absolutely bonkers, for the Bubble Mew. But this is a very common one. There's a lot of cards that are moving up now that they started late. Like the Bubble Mew started trending back up in like late July, but other cards are starting to move up now, so they're just a little bit behind the Bubble Mew. I think this really helped the singles market, because stuff was falling off pretty hard for a while, and then once this card started moving, people started not only looking at this card, but looking at other cards potentially, like, well, if the Bubble Mew is moving, maybe this card will move, kind of playing a little bit of a factor there. Then I did want to talk about, next up is the McDonald's Pikachu promo, the Japanese one. This card's been on an insane run as well. For like, it's not really a free card per se, but essentially a free card. At the time we saw, they were like, people were lining up insane in Japan trying to get these. We were seeing some people just buying the Happy Meals and chucking them just to get the cards. They didn't even care. We're seeing a lot of that, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I didn't think we'd see this card up to this price point this quickly. But once again, that just, it kind of has to do with just the bull market just accelerates everything, and so that's why there's a lot of like, I didn't think it would happen this quickly, but then it just like is insane. So this little McDonald's Pikachu with the Big Mac, it's up 103% in the past month. And you can see this is on TCG Player. It came out the gate around 45, dropped to around 30, and then now we're seeing $63, $64 currently on this, free promo card from McDonald's. Lowest listeds are 60, but then it jumps up into the 70, 75, possibly $80 range. So it'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on. This one obviously has had a ton of sales in the past month, 403. But now there's only 39 currently listed on TCG Player. And I would be willing to bet that currently, if you have these cards, check this out. This is going to be some interesting numbers for you guys. I would be really surprised. Not really surprised. I would be very interested to see how many of these cards are currently at PSA, because this is what the PSA 10 sales have been doing recently. There's one as low as 198 right here, but the two most recent ones, you're seeing, 378, 400. You do have one as low as 198, but that's still pretty good gains, all things considered. 405, 350, 360, 370-ish range. So kind of definitely 300 and above. But check out how easy of a card this is to grade. This is the pop. 14,286 as of this recording have been graded with 13,310s. So this is one of those plays where I bet there's a ton, especially people starting to see these numbers, there's a ton of these McDonald's Pikachu sitting at PSA waiting to be graded. An absolute ton, because this kind of seems like, it's not like Van Gogh Pikachu level by any means, but it's just kind of one of those no-brainer free Pikachu promos that apparently is super easy to grade, and it'd be kind of a no-brainer play. So if you have McDonald's Pikachu, consider sending it into PSA, maybe, if you have multiple copies and you want to, maybe make a little bit of money off of that. But keep in mind that PSA is pretty backlogged, and it's going to take a while for you to get your card unless you're paying, more for a faster tier service, which could make sense in this situation if you're selling them for around 400, 300, 400 plus. That would make sense, but just keep that in mind that, you might not see your cards till the earliest, early 2026 at this rate, because we are halfway through September and getting close to the end of the year. And that I think they just lowered their turnaround time. I think it was at 60 business days. Now it's down to 45 business days, but that's a long time. So PSA currently backed up. I do have an order at PSA as well. It has been checked in, but other than that, it's been checked in for weeks now and hasn't seen any progress moving, not onto research and ID or anything yet. So yeah, if you're gonna send stuff to PSA, if you're very sure about the 10 rate, maybe consider paying extra to get your cards back in time so you can actually sell them. Or you just roll the dice and just let it be. So it really just depends on what you're trying to do. Obviously, if you're just grading for like your personal collection, stuff like that, then it's not really going to matter. Take your time and get it when you get it, sort of thing. But that's all I have for you guys in this update. We covered a few things, right? Obviously, mostly all Scarlet and Violet era stuff, but it was interesting just to kind of see a little bit of an update of where Paldea is at, where Paldean Fates is at, and then 151. And then the interesting little tidbit at the end, I do think that the McDonald's Pikachu is worth noting and worth mentioning, because kind of insane numbers, honestly, for a free promo. So, I mean, and that was what the Van Gogh Pikachu, once again, I'm not comparing them, just because it's Pikachu, it comes up and they were both free promos, essentially. Not technically free, but, you had to pay something to get them, but more or less free. The fact that those were free, like the Van Gogh was a free promo that's like doing what it's doing now. This won't do that, but it's still wild to see some of these PSA 10 numbers. The fact that people will pay that insane of a price. I think there's a lot of other cards, personally, if I'm going to pay $400 for a PSA 10, there's a lot of other cards I would much rather have than the McDonald's Pikachu. But that's just, maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe the McDonald's promo is a little bit more popular than I realized. But I think there's just a frenzy happening. It's like blood in the water when it comes to PSA 10s, and people are just, they're FOMOing, gobbling up everything that they can. It is insane, honestly. So that's all I have for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. And remember, it was never a phase.